Hello everybody and welcome back to another weekly recap. In the weekly recap, I like to go over any news related to the old school RuneScape community this week. Pretty much, I'm just going to be telling you what happened this week besides bagel and spaghetti art. Now this week we finally did get the rest of the updates from poll number 70, as well as some changes to the new bounty hunter update. However, on top of that, there is actually some pretty interesting news on the Jagex company. And as always, I'll be doing a quick recap of the weekly Q&A. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. Now first up here, let's have a look at today's game update. Now the update is kind of focused on two different things here. First, it is the final batch of updates from poll number 70. And secondly here, it is some changes to the new bounty hunter update. And now first up here, we have a new item being added to the game, and that is Divine Battle Mage and Divine Bastion Potions, which is finally going to complete the potion set. Now this did fail a poll, I think like a year and a half ago. But now that it is passed, you can now make the potions at level 86 herb lore. Similar to the other potions, you simply have to add a crystal dust to the regular version. It'll provide the same buff as the original Battle Mage and Bastion Potion, but their effect will act similar to the other Divine Potions, meaning it will last for 5 minutes and your stats will not drain at all until that 5 minutes is up. And at that point, your stats will return to normal all in one go. Next up here, we have a very small quality of life change to the Chambers of Zarek. The Crab Room now includes a hammer if you happen to forget it, which is pretty important, otherwise they will just keep running around and you're going to have a terrible time. Now kind of an interesting one here, for those who have completed the Elite Fremnik Diaries, you're now going to find a crystal ball in the Lunar Isle Bank that if you tap it, it will teleport you to Relica. Now I think the reason they did this is because a kind of roundabout teleport method was to home teleport to the Lunar Isle and then get caught there by not having your seal of passage, in which case that would teleport you to Relica. However, if you had the Elite Diary done, you can't get caught anymore. So they've added an additional teleport method for those players. Next up here, there is a change to Crystalia. The Wilderness Slayer Master will now have a few more tasks, including Bloodvelds, Hill Giants, Moss Giants, Black Knights, Pirates, and Zombies. A Bloodveld task is not going to be great, but to be fair, those are mostly pretty easy monsters, so it should be pretty easy points. Now if you do get a superior monster in the Ironworth dungeon, they are now guaranteed to be dropping a crystal shard, which I guess is kind of nice. Now the traveling merchant Purdue has a few additional items in his store. He has the Karis from the Contact quest, as well as the Bearhead from the Mountain Daughter quest. So if you lose those items, you can now go to Purdue instead of getting them back the longer way. And that is it from poll number 70. It took a while to get all those quality of life updates, but they are working from home, so I'm just happy we're getting any update really. Otherwise, I literally don't know what video I'll be making on Thursday. Okay, so last week the bounty hunter update came out. Now 1 week later, they're going to be making a few minor tweaks and updates to it and balancing changes. Now first up here, the cost of the blighted items is going to be decreased as they were too expensive. The Blighted Manta Ray is now only going to cost 1,100. The Blighted Anglerfish is going to be 1,300. The Blighted Karambwan is going to be 1,300. And the Blighted Super Restore is going to be 1,500. Honestly, that ratio still seems kind of weird because a Super Restore is like 8 times more expensive than the Manta Ray, but whatever. Next up here, they made a change to the Ice Barrage Sack. It's now the Ancient Ice Sack, which pretty much means you can cast any of the 4 lower level ice spells as well. And they've also created a new sack for the Vengeance spell. Now after last week's update, they have decided to enact a coffer system for Bounty Hunter. So rather than carrying the coins with you into the wilderness, the Emblem Trader in Edgeville is now going to have a Bounty Hunter coffer where you can put coins in there before you enter the wilderness. Now you will only be assigned another player if you have at least 20k in your coffer or you have a mysterious emblem. Now if you're PK'd and you have an emblem, your 20,000 GP is going to be safe. However, if you are not dropping an antique emblem for them, you're going to lose 20,000 GP from your Bounty Hunter coffer instead. You now have a much greater chance of receiving a looting bag from a PVM monster, so they decreased the rarity on that one. Now they've also rebalanced the base chance of receiving an antique emblem or upgrading an existing emblem. It now looks at your opponent's stats rather than their combat levels, so you're still going to be rewarded for killing pure accounts which previously would not have registered properly. The promissory notes have been added to the older versions of the Bounty Hunter store. Man, is there more than one old version of the Bounty Hunter store? What the hell? It now stocks promissory notes for looting bags and rune pouches, so if you have any old points, you should use them probably now. Now, as always, there are a ton of minor bug fixes and quality of life changes. Just the one thing I kind of want to highlight here is the cooking, crafting, prayer, and smithing tutors have been updated to better suit their intended purpose. Is that like a graphical update, or have they been fired and they found someone else better? Anyway guys, that is it for today's content update. Now, this week another kind of big piece of news was released, and that was the fact that Jagex has been sold once again to another Chinese holding company, which every time this happens, I just get so stressed out. It does not really inspire too much faith, but so far I don't think anyone has noticed too much influence, and it does seem like they're just holding Jagex as an investment. Let's read over the announcement quickly here. Now, as previously shared, the old owner, Fukong Interactive, advised it was considering selling Jagex. Today, we're happy to confirm that we are now under new ownership of MacArthur Fortune Holdings LLC, a global asset management company that shares our passion for games. I'm not sure if a global asset management company really has a passion for anything else besides money, but really I don't care if someone is holding Jagex as an investment as long as they don't try to influence content decisions, because then things are going to get pretty dicey. So here is the full statement. On Tuesday, the 28th of April, MacArthur Fortune Holding LLC, a global asset management company, has announced that it has acquired Jagex, one of the UK's largest video game developers and publishers, for $530 million through one of its funds. Platinum Fortune LP from Shanghai Hantu Network Technology. Hantu Network was also acquired by Platinum Fortune LP. The management team of Jagex, the headquarters in Cambridge, is all going to remain in place. MacArthur Fortune shares Jagex's passion for video games and is dedicated to utilizing its experience and expertise to add value to one of the longest standing video game developers through strategic investing in research and development and marketing to attract new players to the RuneScape franchise. Now at the end it says, we'll share any more relevant information as we move forward, but rest assured our new owners believe in our vision for our games and it's business as usual for everyone at Jagex. Okay. Now what's kind of interesting about this is the new company that acquired Jagex, no one really knows who they are. There isn't that much information on them. So there are some suspicions that this is just another shell company for Fukong Interactive, and they could just be using this as a tool to free up cash or rebrand themselves. Over the last couple of years, I haven't seen too much push for more monetization or anything like that, except for the partnerships, which granted did get shut down. Honestly, that alone is a pretty good reason to keep the polling system, at least so Jagex management or higher ups have kind of some sort of leverage, saying like, well, if you want to make that change, we will have to poll it, wink wink, pretty much knowing that pretty much anything controversial will fail anyway. Anyway, that's it for the new Jagex ownership. We'll have to see what happens there. Now, there's going to be some server maintenance today on April 30th and May 1st. At 1 p.m. today on Thursday, the UK worlds are going to be down. Later on, it's going to be the US East worlds. Early Friday is going to be the US West worlds. And on Friday, it's going to be German worlds and anyone else. And finally here, you may have noticed that there is a bit of a charity event going on. For every 150 level ups, they're going to be donating $1, which I think is a really cool vehicle for a charity. I think it's awesome. And on top of that, they're going to be giving away 500 free memberships to NHS workers, which I think are healthcare workers, maybe. So yeah, can't really complain about that. And that's going to be it for every update this week. A lot of changes. And finally here, I'm going to do a quick recap of the Q&A. Okay, first up here, we have a new Jagex moderator who appears like he is going to be taking the place of ModMattK, which is pretty exciting. Seems like a pretty chill guy. Now, as mentioned in the weekly update, the looting bag has been made more common for monsters, but specifically it's been changed from about a 1 in 3 drop rate from level 100 monsters, scaling down to a 1 in 30 drop rate from lower level monsters. However, that has been changed now to 1 of the 3 scaling down to only 1 of the 15. Are we ever going to see another Twisted League? Well, they're definitely working on future leagues, and they're not even against the idea of revisiting another Twisted League. Obviously, it'd be less dev time, but they'd have to make a few changes to it as well. Is the Sepulchre going to be released at the same time as Sins of the Father? Yes, it will. Now in RS3, there is a Blood Altar in Darkmire. Could we move the Blood Altar there from Zaya? They don't have any plans to move it because they don't really want to get rid of an entire training method already. How did the JMods feel about a nice cutscene when you go to get your max cape that would highlight all of your achievements? I think it would be a really cool idea, and the current chat interface is kind of underwhelming. Now the first 30 minutes of Deadman mode are double experience. Is that actually 20 times experience? Yes, the double experience is going to be twice the normal Deadman base rate. Will the strange old lockpick be rechargeable? No, it will not. Could you make the achievement diary like the quest log so things will turn yellow and red or green? Now, when it was originally designed, they didn't want to make it so people felt forced to complete the log because it really is impossible. And unfortunately, adding a total collection log count is rather complicated and they don't want to overload the high scores anymore, although they do really like the idea. Now, you've been talking a lot about the early game experience recently. How are you going to actually solve this? Well, there will never be microtransactions in Old School RuneScape, so the only way to make the game more successful, at least financially, is to just gain more players, so that is mainly going to be their focus. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for the weekly recap. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I always appreciate it if you take the time to leave the video a like, and I'll see you next time.